Sajid. I'm one of the founder of Step Up Analytics. Let me quickly introduce myself and then probably I'll give a quick poll to everybody and then we can start our discussion ahead. So a few confirmation before we go ahead. Am I audible to everybody? Is it very clear?
Yes.
Yes, it's all audible.
Cool, perfect. And I have shown myself so that you can relate to whom you are hearing to. Okay, myself Sajid. So guys, I come from a computer science background. If I just need to quickly start with my background, I come from a computer science background. Post that, I did my diploma in statistics and data analytics from IIT Madras. I graduated in 2013, so in total I have 8+ years of experience into analytics, data science, and machine learning. uh, in this entire tenure of mine, up until now, I got an opportunity to work in finance, telecommunication, uh, entertainment. Currently, I'm working with Nike in the analytics domain, and as you all know, Nike is into retail and supply chain, world biggest sports brand. So I get an opportunity to work with the supply chain again, understanding how supply chain is and how everything in and around retail is working. So majorly, this is my experience, and definitely I'll throw some more lights on as we proceed on further. Okay, the agenda for today's session is primarily to give you a very good glimpse, very good understanding, and give you a direction. How should you, as a students in your undergrad, should quick start your and plan your academics going ahead. Okay, it will not be very technical. I've tried to make it less of technical. Reason being, I understand you guys are not very much exposed. I totally understand and respect that. So I'll keep it less technical, but I would request everybody to feel free and try to uh, engage yourself. uh, Bring up any questions if you have any doubts. You can use the chat section put your questions. Definitely I have access to chats and I'll take your questions, and I would very much and highly encourage everybody to unmute yourself and speak out, okay, if you want. Okay, so that was a few setup before we start. So about my introduction, my career. Okay, so guys, majorly I have worked into analytics, and in today's session, what I have planned is generally to give you a few glimpses to start your learning. Okay, then we'll talk about what project-based learning is. Okay, and I'll give you the details about that project-based learning, how you should opt that, and how what difference will it make, and what is the importance of it from the employer perspective, primarily like companies who is coming for hiring or internship, or from the student's perspective who is applying or preparing for themselves for the job. Okay, on other side, guys, let me quickly begin then. Okay, before I begin, I would like to have a quick survey to understand my audience, whom I'm speaking to. Okay, and at the end, I will encourage everybody to switch on your camera so that we have a quick selfie all together. Okay, so you all are from Presidency undergrad, right? Quick yes and no on the chat. Okay, and if you just type in your department, economics, statistics, which department you are from, I just to understand, and a quick survey and consensus, like whom I'm addressing to. Statistics, cool. Okay, stats. Okay, okay, yeah. Go ahead, guys. Keep on putting your department, statistics. Okay, statistics. Cool. So what I understood is, if I extrapolate uh, the data point that I have got up until now in 30 seconds, that says the majority of us here are from Department of Statistics. Okay, so there can be two reasons: the information only circulated in Department of Statistics, or Department of Statistics folks are serious enough to attend sessions and get themselves a good get a good orientation of what they want to do going ahead. Anyways, one, mathematics, an outlier, but I mean, not an issue. Outliers are always there, and we cannot even think of data without an outlier. Cool. So, good. Now we're getting a good number in mathematics. Perfect. So, guys, I the reason I have took this quick consensus or a survey, there is a reason behind it, because I'm addressing to an audience, okay, and primarily my audience who will get benefit out of this session is folks from Department of Statistics, Economics, and Mathematics. Okay, because we are talking about analytics, data science, machine learning, and this department have to do or has to do or needs to do everything in and around analytics and data science. Okay, so a very practical driven approach. I'll keep on focusing on departments, the importance of departments, why I'm so much worried and so much inclined towards these departments. Okay, the reason being, there are plethora of opportunities lying undiscovered. It's a gold mine, okay, which you guys will obviously or subsequently encounter in coming days, months, years. Okay, okay, so I'll start presenting my slide. Okay, I hope again you all are able to see. Cool. So guys, as we know that like, since you guys have already put an effort, you did your bachelor's, like basically you're pursuing your bachelor's, you come from you completed your higher secondary and opted for such departments. Either you are fully aware of it, I mean, like, you were aware that the stats has an opportunity which is in either for higher academics, if people want to pursue masters and PhDs from India, from outside. That is one perspective. You are completely aware of it. Or second thing, second possibility is you are aware of the opportunities and the dependencies that this departments or this folks having this knowledge or academics will have on the entire nation or the world or the globally. Okay. Thirdly, you do not got any options. Okay, you do not want to do engineering or anything. You landed up here. Either of these three possibilities land here. In any one of this case, guys, okay, let me be very open and frank to you. Okay, statistics, economics, and mathematics is no more non-technical department as it used to be 8 years, 10 years back. People used to pursue it with the hope or with the aim of pursuing further studies and getting into academics. There are number of opportunities into research, into corporates, into data science, ML, AI, deep learning. Okay, so let me begin with that, data analytics for beginners. So when we think about our career, uh, and I said any three possibilities it can be. You might have landed up to these departments. Either you are completely aware of it. If you fall into that group of folks who were completely aware of the demand and upcoming future of this studies, well and good. You have taken a very good step ahead. For folks who are not aware of it, let me speak for them for 2 minutes. Uh, I would say that if you look around and spend good 6 hours, 8 hours of your research in 3 days or 4 days, you'll understand how the trends has changed. Okay, when we think about career, guys, we straight away think of how, what opportunity it will provide me as a after my undergrad, after my masters, after PhDs. These are the three labels, right? We think about that. Now, if you think about a career, so think about what has I will bring a very interesting question which I got some time back when I was having a similar session in IIT Kanpur. Okay, and a girl I was having that those were days when I used to have one like offline sessions. It was not online sessions like this. I was in the in the college, in the department. So one girl from the first bench stood up and she asked me. I was having a similar session on like how to kickstart a career in data science and demands of Department of Statistics and Maths. Okay. Now she asked me one question, and I was literally amazed. And after this 18 months or 2 years, I still remember that question. Okay, the question was like, I come from academic background. Like my father and my mother is a teacher. Okay, I got into statistics because I also wanted to get into research and development. But seeing the demand and look around everywhere, analytics, data related things is growing so much, is in so much demand. Everybody's talking about that, starting from government policies, state policies, everybody. What do you think if I opt this career? What will be my career look like after 15 years or 10 years or 15 years down the line? So I was stuck with this part of the question. A girl in first year of her masters, she's worried not about 2 years, 3 years. She's worried about 15 years down the line. What will be her career? Because she wants to decide now. She wants to go into a job of in corporates in data science, or she wants to get into academics. So I was so stuck with this question. I was so amazed that I keep on giving this example to everybody. So whenever you plan of a career, because career is something which will remain with you lifelong, and you should plan it like that way. Your career planning should begin not with a week, month, year long planning. You should think about it like let's 10 year, 15 years. How will it look? Will the demand increase? How will you grow? How will your career learning will grow? How will your everything, earning, monetization, everything will depend on that, right? So when I'm talking about analytics or data science, guys, let's come into this field now. Okay, let's take a very a relative approach. We all know that obviously you guys are very junior. When I was in my college, in my second year, third year of engineering, or even in my first years of my diploma in IT Madras, I did not had a smartphone. Okay, so what has changed? I'm just talking about this 8-10 years of changes. Okay, and what how will this impact the next 2 decades or 3 decades of the career? So there was a restrictions on internet. There was restrictions on smartphone devices. I used to have a Nokia, basic Nokia phone. Okay, and now today's time, you see everybody in and around us, even if you are in first year of undergraduate or in masters, you'll have a smartphone, you'll have a good access to internet, you'll have digital devices, laptops, tabs. Okay, so what has changed is the amount of data which was getting generated 8 years, 10 years back, and the amount of data which is getting generated now has tremendously changed. The entire pattern, the entire storage generation has changed, and this is going to be more, and it will see a quick rise and incremental rise in next 8 years and 10 years, because internet penetration will increase, because government, everybody are getting connected. Everybody wants to get connected. A lot of startups are coming in, which is making your internet usability, like a lot of apps are coming in, home devices are coming in, digital devices are getting cheaper, internet is getting cheaper. Okay, with this you will see more and more data coming in. Now if the data comes in more, right, so we will need folks who will need mathematicians, statistician, econometrics to handle those data, to drive insights out of it. Okay, because data without insight is useless. Okay, and when we say that data is the next oil, okay, we mean that when in 80s and 90s, the countries which used to have oil, they used to be rich, like Middle East, Russia, America. Those were countries which used to have good amount of oils, and they used to be known as a rich country, developed countries. Now that generation has changed. Now that this is a generation of data. The countries who have more regulations on data, more data driven approach, they are going to be leading the world. Okay, and that's why you see that China and Singapore is rising, and it's a big threat to America. to being a next superpower, right? So everything will be data driven, and a nation, any country will need more and more data professionals to handle those. Now, I don't just mean that data professional means like data scientist, data analyst. We'll need data researchers. We need more PhDs who understands algorithms and data. We'll need more business analysts. Okay, we'll need more uh, statistician who can draw and more, drive more algorithm, who understands algorithm. Okay, so if you plan it that way, if you think it that way, so my answer to her was this. Okay, that the future is all about data. Okay, so if you are planning your career, okay, think about what you are into. Are you into studies which is somewhere related to your data driven approach? Yes, department of stats, economics, maths are something which is completely dependent on data. Okay, rather, sorry, data is dependent on these departments. Okay, then how what learning you will have to bring in, extra learning like technicals. Okay, tools learning. Okay, what effort you put, what knowledge you gain, what contacts you bring in. This is very important. What networks you, like, this is the time, guys, where you should invest good time to build a network, to build contacts. Okay, now contact starts from your college classmates, your professors. There are a lot of social media platforms to build contacts. Okay, okay, now build your reputation, build your brand. I always say this to students addressing. Last week I was having a session in Jadavpur, okay, in Department of Economics. Build your brand, that is very important. Now, one very important aspect which got tagged with you all is you got a very good name with you on your resume, on your profile, that you come from a reputed institute, and that too in Bengal. Bengal is very famous for uh, maths, economics, and stats. Okay, you have a very good name. Now you need to carry this name and leverage this fact. Okay, there's no stopping. Believe me. Okay, coming from Bengal, and I'm seeing the demand. Okay, a lot of your alumni. I've worked with a couple of your alumni as well. In my current organization, I have two folks in my team as a junior who's from your college. Okay, you have a good alumni network. Leverage that. So all in all, you are present state is awesome. Now you need to leverage and convert that into a better future state. Okay. Now I'm going to next slide. If you have any questions, feel free to raise it. I'll happy to answer those now. Any question, guys? Or shall we move ahead? Let me move ahead. We'll have a quick question and answer session. Cool. So, guys, this was just to give you a brief. It was a quick head start. Okay. Like how should you plan? How should you think of yourself? Okay, the advantages that you have. Now, in subsequent slides, you'll have introduction to data analytics. What data analytics is, I assume a couple of you folks have done your research, but I'll be very basics to give you or enlighten you with information that I have. Okay, what role does statistics play? Okay, uh, now statistics is a mathematical part, but there are a lot of technical part that needs to be done, which you will have to learn on top of your academics. Okay, there are something which you'll have to take up, so that majorly falls into data cleaning and data manipulation. Now, data visualization is something which I'll be very much focused on. I'll be focusing a lot on data visualization because this is a swift start, and this is a swift start means it is a easy start, and this is the time when you should start because it will take time. Data visualization is a capability that you'll have to develop, which in industry is known as data storytelling. Very important soft skill, data storytelling. Data is there, you have converted that and have driven an insight based on your statistics and mathematics skill, but you need to convey that result to somebody like who don't know numbers. Okay, so data visualization will come into picture. I have something on machine learning if time permits. Sorry, I have a cough. I've been traveling from past 3 days. Sorry if I cough in between. Anyways, sorry. Let us move ahead. So roles and responsibilities, I just pulled out a couple of surveys from Naukri.com and Indeed.com just to give you a number, but that number might vary from person to person. And at the end, I have a good a case study for you, specially designed for you guys, just to show you or enlighten you that how practical work looks like, so that you can start. My entire agenda of the session is that when you walk out of the session today, okay, you should start spending some time every day or every week to do some practical approaches, practical work. So my hands-on session will be on Python, okay, because Python is something which is being used. Basically, Python is something which is becoming a potato of data science industry. Everybody uses it because of its flexibility, easy to learn, and implementation is very easy. Okay, and a Tableau session, visualization. So there are two hands-on, 10 minutes each. I would take 10 minutes on Python and 10 minutes on Tableau. Okay, to show you how you should start learning and how you should work on those. Okay, let us move ahead, guys. Basically, I'll start with very basic. Now, data science. When I say when you hear about this term, you go to LinkedIn, you go to anybody who is into the IT or who is into the data science industry, or who is trying to be into the industry, right? You'll find people who know stuff. Uh, you'll find people who have heard about the stuffs, and you'll find people who gets driven by the buzzwords. Okay, so the people who gets driven by the buzzword a lot in quantity. So it is very important for the aspirants like you to have a understanding what you guys are focusing or aiming for in future. Okay, now when I say data science job, okay, so data science as such is not a job. Okay, data science is a domain altogether. Okay, and anything and everything that revolves around data uh, can be done or can be worked using the data science approach. Now it's a life cycle. It is not a, you will not get a data science job. Either you will be a data scientist, you'll be a business analyst, data analyst, that will be your roles. So each roles have some parts to do. Okay, now why I'm talking about this now, because uh, you will be able to decide your interest area accordingly. Okay, some of you here wants to, is a very mathematical driven person, statistical algorithm. So for you folks, there are different set of work. Okay, someone of you here might be a storyteller who nicely conveys the story and convince people, talks well. So for you guys also, you have a different set of work here. So likewise, based on your interest, there are different journey that needs to be taken in data science life cycle. So let's break it one by one. So in any firm, let's take an example of Flipkart. Okay, Flipkart is an e-commerce company. Is it is one company in India which is completely data driven. Nothing in Flipkart happens without data. Okay, now let's take an example of a Flipkart CEO or executive team wanted some target to be achieved. They wanted to have a good revenue increase. Okay, they'll come, they'll bring this target or requirement to a team who is working on setting up research, who is doing research on different aspects of the company. Now they wanted to increase the revenue of the company. Okay, so you will have PhDs and all sitting in the company who will set up the research goal. Let's say they wanted to increase the revenue, and they wanted to come up with big billion day. Okay, so they'll see that big billion day is doable or not. Okay, for that they will need a team who will retrieve the data from different sources, social media, government agencies, research agencies. Okay, from different agencies they will gather the data, because if they have the data, then only they will be able to prove this hypothesis is right, doable or not. Okay, then it will go to this retrieving data and data preparation. These rules are bit on a technical side. Okay, so people from computer science background or engineering background sits a lot here, retrieving data and data preparation. So data preparation is like whatever data is retrieved from different sources, they are very raw, and we'll see raw data in our Python session how it looks. Okay, so they'll prepare the data, they'll formulate the data and bring it in a workable format, so that the consumer of the data, that is you guys, okay, who comes from non-technical background, let's say from come from maths, from stats, from economics, you they come and they get the data, they consume the data which is prepared by the data engineering team. This is termed as a data engineering team, life cycle 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, now a lot of analysts, junior data scientists, statistician, okay, they come and sit here. So what they do is, as a fresher you get hired here, okay, and the whole target is, okay, to drive insight from the data that you have, okay, and this consumes 70 to 75% of the time of the project. So let's say the entire project needs to be completed in 3 months, okay, 1.5 to 2 months will go in data exploration. So it will sit with you. You guys will spend good time in exploring, because exploration needs time, right? And once the exploration is done, right, that you come to some conclusion, yeah, big billion day is possible, let's try and do it, let's try and do big billion day in the month of October. Okay, why? Because in October, I see a lot of people don't buy. If we give them offer, they'll buy purposefully. So we'll increase the revenue and we'll have additional profits. That is your input as an analyst or a data scientist. Now, this exploration will go to modeling. Some of you folks who are more inclined and want to work on algorithm, machine learning, artificial intelligence. Okay, so you guys sit here. Using the insights, you try to predict the future to data modeling. Okay, so this is a core skill of data scientist, this data exploration and data modeling. Now comes your visualization, presentation. Now this data, this insights, whatever you have produced, is definitely not going in a form of number to the executives, because they're not able to understand if you give them percentages and something in an Excel sheet. They need a proper presentation. The presentation can be as simple as Excel, but in today's time, the industry demand is Tableau, very advanced visualization tools like Tableau, Power BI, okay, those tools. So if you have, so this is a combined skill. You can also take it or learn over time. Okay, now this is the entire life cycle, and everything here is only doable when you have data around. Data as an input. Now, data should be in a good shape and form, because garbage in is garbage out. If you take wrong data for analysis, definitely your output or your insight will be wrong. So a lot of work needs to be done in the data engineering phase to get you, so that you get a proper data to work. Okay. So far, any questions? Are we good to start? Good to go ahead. Sorry.
I think so.
Cool. Fine. Now, guys, further, I recently I was reading an article, which I have placed a slide here. I'll share this slide with you, and I will recommend you to read this article. Okay, so this article talks about like it compares pre-pandemic phase, that is before March 2020, and post-pandemic phase, that is after March 2020 till December 2020. Okay, that is pre-pandemic era and post-pandemic period. Now, it did a comparison of most commonly professions. What was the demand, job openings, number of open roles before pandemic and after pandemic. So it did software engineering, data analytics, data science. Okay, and like one thing why I bought this here is this is to encourage you that even this pandemic, wherein almost all the industry is being hit tremendously by the COVID. This is as this is a global thing. It has a global impact. Every job roles and everything had an impact. The only thing which saw an increase in demand even in the pandemic time was data related jobs. So it can be data analytics, actuarial science, data scientist, machine learning. So this were couple of jobs which saw a demand surge in demand even in the pandemic time. Okay, so this will give you a very good at least one moral boost that the field or that the domain that you are going to choose going down the line is in such a demand that you can plan and think about this career as a good career opportunity going ahead. Okay, cool. Now I'll jump into next. I would recommend you guys you should all read this the blog. I'll share the link with you. Now, let's jump into our second phase of discussion, which is very important and crucial. The reason being, it will change the way you look your preparation. How should you prepare yourself? Okay. Now, guys, but there's a very famous thing. There's a very famous colloquial term which goes around in and around data science industry in current time. Okay, it has changed the way, it has changed the outlook in using which uh, companies used to hire earlier and now. Okay, the perspective has changed. That is called project based learning, PBL. Okay, now it might be a new term in Indian institutions or Indian job market or Indian industries. Okay, but it's a very old, I would not say very old, it's an old practice, or being very very stable practiced in Western universities and countries like Europe and US. Okay, now what this tells you, it says that whatever learning that you do, I did a session, 1 minute, give me a second, I'll pull that so that we can relate to what we are discussing. Okay, I did a session. This was again in Jadavpur. It is good time back. So on a project-based learning. Okay, so what project-based learning is? I'll just read out from here. Project-based learning is a student-centric centered pedagogy that involves a dynamic classroom approach in which it is believed that students acquire a deeper knowledge through active exploration of real-world challenges and problems. So this is the key take takeaways: real-world challenges and problems. Now, why I'm talking about it in this session? Because we are talking about data science. Now, what is data science? Data science is all about solving real life, real world challenges. Okay, the challenge can be as big as solving world poverty. Okay, which is none of you in your control or in my control. Okay, or it can be as small as understanding how many districts in West Bengal has seen the growth in forest number of trees, and how many districts in West Bengal has seen a fall in number of trees in last 10 years. Okay, so this is a real world problem. Now, out of 56 people here, everybody have a diverse interest, diverse work to do. Okay, somebody here might be interested in photography, somebody here might be interested in NGOs and child labor problems, somebody here can are from the entrepreneurship background and are more interested in business and entrepreneurship. Okay, each interest that you have, whatever interest it can be, it has a challenge that needs to be solved. Okay, think about that challenge, guys. So why I'm talking about this is because the moment you find your interest, that somebody here is very fond of, let's say, movie industry, or let's say somebody here is very interested in uh, like COVID analysis, like how many, what was the impact of COVID in India district wise. Okay, so if you get that sort of problem, and you start investing good time there, okay, your interest will be more, and you can spend day in and day out. Let's say if you talk about me, if you give me anything and everything related to child labor, because I am someone who works, I'm associated with a lot of NGOs in Bengal as well as in Bangalore. Okay, I work closely with them. I spend my weekends to analyze data, and so that I can help the NGOs to get a better decision when we go for a proposal to a government and the police. Okay, we have a better number in our hand. So I'm learning, I'm still learning, but I'm working on a real world challenges and learning together. So what happens when you keep on associating yourself with such real world challenges, okay, over time what happens, you start building a data intuition. Now, what is that data intuition? Data intuition is, given a challenge, let's say I gave you a challenge that Abhishek or Ahana, tell me what was the budget spent in election in Bengal in May district. Okay, this is a very challenging problem, right? If you if you are interested, like how much of amount, how much of money is being spent by political parties in advertisement and campaigning, tell me that. Okay, you will spend good week, 1 week or 2 weeks of time, okay, to figure out what was the budget, digital media, social media, print media, local party booths and all. And then you keep on researching. Ultimately what happened, you have built a data intuition. So data intuition is, given a raw data set, can you drive insights from it or not? Okay, that is data intuition. Now once you build this data intuition, guys, there's no stopping. This is what, as a data science professional, you need to develop and mature your data intuition. Okay, now I'll give, like, I might be very repetitive. I'll take one more example here so that you guys can clearly understand what you need to do going ahead. Now real world challenge can be as small as, in your statistics department in last 10 years, okay, pull out the number of person who got placed from 2010 till 2020. Okay, good 10 years. If you take an average, if you have around 100 students in each year, so you have 1000 data points in 10 years. Now check how many year on year from 2011, 12, 13, 14 till 2020, how many people got, how many students got placed. Okay, and try to drive some insights, like which company you should prepare for, which is a good company, where are these folks now working, what is their career path, how they have grown. Okay, this is a this is something which is developing a data intuition, and ultimately you ended up working on a project. Okay, now the biggest advantage on building this project is, ultimately it reflects your resume. Okay, so this PBL, when you prepare for a data science related higher studies, let's say you want to go for PhDs in machine learning. Okay, even if you want to pursue masters, let's say from US universities, so these projects will sit in your resume, and your resume will no more will be a traditional resume, it will termed as a portfolio. Now this is a good term which is coined out in specifically for data science people. Recruiter, or even for in SOPs, when you write for masters or PhDs, right, a statement of purpose, so they ask for a portfolio. If you are a data aspirants, you should have a portfolio. Now what portfolio is, it's a term which comes from business, which says that you should, what work you have done, what problems you have solved, those related things. Okay, any questions so far before I move ahead? Are we all good, guys? Quick yes or no on the chat. You know what happens sometimes, if you keep on listening, right, so you lose interest. That's why I keep on asking. If you have questions, bring it to me, let's have a discussion. Okay, I try to make my sessions very interactive, because that is how we learn. Exactly. So I got a question, a very good question from Soumya Deep Paul. Okay, the question was in private. So it says, how can students from eco department go into data industry? A good, Soumya. So see, the path is completely same if you come from any of the three department. Okay, you guys do enough a good theory studies, and I know very well this curriculum in and around West Bengal. The amount of theories that you guys learn is, I would say, amazing. It's beyond expectation. Okay, because we have a very good history, right? Calcutta University Economics Department, Science College, Javier's, Jadavpur Presidency. We have a very rich history in when it comes to maths, numbers, and stats, right, or economics. So theoretically, following the curriculum, whatever curriculum you have, go into that. Along with that, uh, prepare yourself, start preparing a portfolio is like working on some basic projects. Get into associate yourself with some of the professionals. Okay, you'll find a lot many in on LinkedIn. Get yourself associated. Start building some technical knowledge. Now technical knowledge can be, you pull up R, you pull up Python, you pull up Tableau. Okay, learn one programming skill, guys, and it is Very, very important. There's no way out. If I'm like, why I'm telling you this is because this is the best time to opt that. You should have one programming skill, okay, and then start from basic, go to intermediate, go to advanced, go to machine learning, okay, and then keep on advancing. There's no stopping. But start with one programming language, okay. uh, i- Only when you have a good programming, you have learned at least from basic or intermediate, you'll start working on basic projects, okay. Start building data intuition, start building portfolio. So this will be the sorry, this will be the like steps for you. Now I got one other question from Sayantan: how to learn machine learning programming as a beginner? So the answer, as I said, start with Python or R. Take one language. uh, I got this question last week in session in JU. A guy was asking what he or what he should take. He should start with R or Python. So if you have already started with any one of these, stick with that, complete that. The reason is this both R and Python, when it comes to data and data science related stuffs, they work completely same. So if you have a good grip on one, you'll be able to do good in another one. Okay, don't ride or put your legs on two different boats. Take one, complete that. Okay, why I tell you is I'll show that in my last discussion when I'm having on a hands-on session why these are relatable. This is completely relatable when you have R and Python for data. Okay, if you have understanding of one, you are good with other. Okay, good. I'm getting a good question, guys. I'm very impressed. Can I add any of my interested works on my exactly Soumyadeep? Soumyajit, sorry. You can add any one of your work which you have worked on. It can be as basic as what I did, what I asked you, right? Doing analysis of your college students, and as advanced as like doing bipole or election analysis. Anything, everything adds up to your work, and you can add to your resume, and it will be termed as a portfolio. Okay. Uh, So, Upanita, I've not started the recording. We are midway. So, I guess people who are missing it, they are missing it. We cannot help it. I cannot help it. Sorry. Uh, cool. So, fine. That was the sort of question. Thanks, guys, for the question. Let's move ahead now. Now, guys, on the similar line on project-based learning, when you started working on a real-world problem, basics or advanced using Python, R, Tableau, or even Excel, that is even being considered. Don't worry. Don't think that what Excel will add value. Excel is, it can be very helpful. So don't, if even if you are solving or driving some insights using Excel, well, you are good placed. Okay. Uh, then how is this helping you? So see, why I read this, I'll just read up this thing. Okay, so selection of your problem is very important because you will be a single team, or let's say two folks, three folks. You should be self-driven, because I or anybody will not drive you. I can just encourage you and guideline you. If you get any problem, you get stuck somewhere, you can reach out to me. We can set up a time and we can talk, and I can help you in giving you direction. But you should be self-driven. Okay, now you will be able to drive yourself only when you are working on something which you are interested in. Okay, as I told you that here, out of 56 people, not everybody will like to work on uh, finance data. Okay, for if you give me to work on finance data, I'll sleep. I'll not be able to spend time because I'm not interested in finance. Okay, but if you give me data related to NGOs and supply chain or pharma, I can spend day in and day out. So choose your interest area, very important. Okay, and fortunately, if you get to have two, three people who have the same interest, that you can form a team. Okay, now try to ask questions that you are trying to solve. Okay, what problem you are trying to solve using that data. Okay, try and find a related data. There are data, enough data everywhere. Okay, the one source which I can guide you all with is what is the name? India, 1 minute. yeah, data.gov.in. Okay, if you want to work in on any problem statement which is within the boundaries of Indian jurisdiction, you'll find the data here. Okay, all the data government has open sourced, and the sole purpose is for you guys to look into those, try and analyze and work. Now there are obviously there are a lot of questions and doubts that you can raise, that is this data right, wrong. But if the source is this, right, when the government has outsourced, okay, all of your work, just tag it that you have in a biography or bibliography, just tag this that you have sourced your data from government agencies. Let's say some of you are like want to understand COVID related problems, all the data is outsourced here. Pull the data from here. Okay, start investing some good time and build some output. Okay, start your project, that is important, and ultimately this will get added in your portfolio. Now your resume will no more that you know Python programming, you know R programming, you know hypothesis testing. No, your resume will look like that you have worked on a project where you have analyzed COVID data set for second wave using Python. Okay, or it will look like, it will sound like you have worked on a project of deforestation in West Bengal district wise using Tableau. This will do a wonder for you guys. It is wonderful. Okay, so let's get back to our slide, and let me. Okay, so I got one question from Somadeep. So guys, what I'll do is the questions are coming on private. I'll put it for everybody so that everybody can understand what I'm speaking. Otherwise, it will make no sense. Do all types of data analysis need experience of Python or ML prerequisitely? No. So answer to this is Somadeep. No, I would say that Python, the data analysis can be done, as I said, in even Excel. Okay, you can do it in R, you can do it in Python. ML and everything is advanced thing when you try to predict and do something for future. Okay, but to start with at this point in time, okay, start with basic data analysis. Okay, go. I'll pass that link of the website. Okay, that data.gov.in. Go here, pull out some resources, data, and start doing analysis. Okay, now guys, who is data analyst? This is one question that we all should understand. Okay, uh, coming from whatever background, not whatever, basically either of these three, or then computer science from engineering. Okay, once apart from the theoretical and academics knowledge, you should have some technical knowledge as well. Okay, now everything and anything and everything in our industry revolves around data. Now if it revolves around data, there should be some platform tools and technologies which holds or which stores this data, then only we'll be able to consume, and that are SQL systems. Basically all the data are stored in SQL systems. Okay, so you should have some basic understanding on how to query those tables as systems and platforms to retrieve the data, then only you'll be able to analyze it. Okay, so SQL comes into play here. You should know SQL, and eventually SQLs are basics. You will be able to take up, uh, learn SQLs, or MySQL is an open source tool. You can install it in your system. Okay, this is for data storage and query. Then data comes to analysis phase, where we explore and drive insights. Majority of you will be placed here. Okay, all data science, data analyst, junior data scientist, data analytics professional sits here. For this, we need any one of the programming tools. The industry currently demands Python. Okay, if you have Python skill, R skill, you are good to go. SPSS and all those things were a old thing. SPSS, SAS, these are old terms now, very hardly used now in industry. Okay, the current demand is R and Python. Okay, if you know that, you are good in this phase. The third phase is broadcasting your result to the concerned team. Either it can be in Excel reports. Current demand is Tableau or any advanced visualization tool or Power BI. Okay, so a data analyst or any data professionals should have SQL knowledge in one programming R or Python, or and a visualization tool knowledge. Okay, now this is what it needs. Now data visualization I have an extra slide altogether just to bring your focus here. Uh, See, data visualization is something, if you go to LinkedIn now, right, and see job openings for fresher or internship opportunity for fresher in data science. Okay, you'll see this is this is one minimum or one common skill set they're asking for, data visualization. Because from the university, you guys, when you come out, right, you have a lot of open questions in your mind. You are a good storyteller already. Now they want to leverage that fact, and they want to give you opportunity to visualize and come with something new in the world of visualization. Okay, take up uh, Tableau. Any data visualization tools are licensed and very expensive. But if you, since you are a student, they get give you a 1 year license, free license. Okay, I'll send the link at the end. Try and get a license of Tableau. Start practicing Tableau. Okay, a lot. So Tableau, if you have a skill of Tableau, definitely one internship opportunity gets fixed in your second or third year. Okay, leverage that. So Abhishek has a question. Up to what level should one learn SQL for working in this domain? So see, basic is needed, Abhishek. Basic is like at least querying tables. Okay, retrieving data is needed. Now you will definitely, you'll not be opting for a data engineering profile. Data engineering needs SQL in a very advanced level, but analyst, data science professionals, basic and intermediate would be sufficient. Okay, so let's next jump into last few slides. Okay, and then we can have a hands-on session started. So we have a lot of positions, I would say, job roles, uh, which are core to our skill. Core, I mean, like, which is very much core in terms of growth, and is a niche skill which will give you a good growth down the line. Okay, but there are something related to it, but that not have a lot of technical work. So any job description or openings or internship opportunity that you go get down the line, which says statisticians or data scientist, data architect, administrator, data analyst. So data analyst and business analyst, as a fresher you'll get a lot of as a fresher full-time job or internship, you'll get this profile, and a data scientist as well, junior data scientist or data scientist. So these are the roles which generally data science professionals get when they get into when they apply for a job, or any jobs that you see they provide, who are providing this profiles would be a good for you. Okay, this is a quick survey which I was talking about initially, that I have pulled out from it is from Indeed, Naukri.com, sorry. Average salary in India for this is for UG. Okay, this is primarily for UG, and it has a lot of impact on which college you come from or what department you come from. Definitely, you guys will have edge over this because of your background and your academics, rich academics theory and all. Okay, so just to put a light. So now let's get into another thing. I found this tweet recently on Twitter, and I thought let's try and share this with you guys. So this is, I would say, a very sarcastic thing. If you read it, entry level job openings, hiring recent college grads, requirement is 5 years experience, 6 Olympic gold medals, and superpower. I found it very realistic. It is a sarcastic thing definitely, but it has a very realistic touch on this. Okay, now as a fresher, when you apply, even this is implicable for folks who are applying for internship and uh, such things, right? Even if you are fresher, the expectations are high. Now there are, this is unfortunate, but there are some things like the bar is set high by the students itself. Now like you'll, if you go to colleges now, uh, like you like let's talk about your college. If you talk about folks in your college, they really invest good time by the time they reach in their final year of their masters, and they have a very good skill. Okay, and the expectation by the recruiter is set high. Now this is not all, this is not averaged out to all the colleges, but this is reality. This is very realistic. Like the expectation is very being set very high by certain colleges, certain students. Okay, now who suffers is the rest of the folks. Now we should all prepare for this. We should accept this reality. This is the reality of the industry. Okay, now the only solution which I see, and I have seen other students whom I have addressed 2 years, 3 years back, and they have found it useful. Even in presidency, I'm having, this is my uh, third year, I guess. 19, 20, 21. 19 I had a session, 20 I had a session, this is 21. This is my third session, rather fourth session. In 2021 I had two sessions. Okay, so I have seen people overcoming this challenge. Okay, and the only way to overcome this is a basic project, a intermediate project, or a project-based learning approach that you take. Okay, uh, if you have a project in hand, uh, don't worry about what project. Project means anything and everything in which you had a data, you had a problem. Sorry, let me put it like this way: any project where you had a problem, okay, which you are trying to solve, you had a background data, and you had a insight or a result. This is termed as a project. Now you bring me this such projects, big or small, in your portfolio, and come to me. Now when you come to any interviewer, let's say I have given my experiences when I sit for interviews. Like in recent time, all interviews, even in IIT and IIMs, those all are happening online. So, and if that interview is for a data science professionals or data science jobs, okay, it is no more a direct question like, tell me how you know programming in Python. What is it? What are the data types in Python? How do you write loops in Python? No, no more straight questions from programming or anything. Tell me how do you do F test? What is the difference between T test and F test? No, the question revolves around what you have done. Okay, tell me what project you have worked recently. You tell me, I've worked on global warming. My question would be, the moment I see this, I would be very much impressed. I like, tell me what have driven you to work on such projects. Okay, you will say that I am very much fond of nature and the effect of global warming for the future generation. Okay, what you have done? I've collected data set and I've this steps. What are the impact? So India is being very much impacted by global warming because of manufacturing and setting up new uh, so a number of reasons. Okay, so when you bring such discussions on the table, right? Okay, you have turned that opportunity into a good opportunity. Now, I'll never think twice that I should take a go for you or not, because I've known that you are a problem solver. You have already decided your career, and it will do wonders for you. Okay, so prepare yourself, and this preparation is not only for a job. Even if you go for a internship now, right? I'm talking about good internship in data science, guys. Okay, no more content writing and no more increasing the followers and likes. Now you are a data science professionals, you are a data aspirants, so you should think in that aspects, right? So okay, so just think about in that perspective, because uh, you are carrying a lot of values for yourself, for whatever you are studying, and for whatever you are aspiring for. Okay, so prepare yourself in that sense, and I'll tell you, every start is a good start. Generally, I see students, they're getting a little hesitant that can I do a small data analysis in Excel? Will that be accountable? Will people make fun of me? Don't even think about that. Okay, you always take a first step, and first step is always a small step. Okay, the moment you take that, you'll get that enthusiasm, you'll get that moral boost, so that you take two steps next day, and three step third day, and likewise you'll find a day where you do a complex project that you can never think of when you started. Okay, that's reality, and that is even for me and for any other professional. So feel free to reach out to me if you are thinking of what to start, how to start. I'll definitely be happy to help you. Okay, now uh, when you work on a project, so three questions keep in your mind: what problem you are solving, okay, from where you are getting the data, okay, and how are you portraying your output. Okay, so now let's get into our third phase of discussion, which is what and how should you prepare. Okay, a very important field, like at least in this point in time, where everybody's when you meet, right, I'm preparing for data science, what should I do? They'll tell you, do this. Again, you'll go to college, you'll talk to somebody, you'll do attend seminar like this. They'll Each one has their own recommendation, but let's see what industry is asking for, right? Let's prepare for what is in demand. Okay, because demand is something which you are going to fill, right? Cool. So data science is growing with Python leading the way. Now let's don't believe on the statement. Let's see the stats, because we are analytical guys. We believe on numbers. So this is a graph. I see SQL is in demand. This is very obvious, because irrespective of what you will do, you are a visualization guy, you are a machine learning guy, you are a, uh research guy, you need SQL to retrieve the data. So it is for all the professionals. The demand is high. Python is majorly used for data analyst, for analysis or exploration. See, it is topping. It is in the second rank. It is topping the industry. Now, then if you see the trend starting from 2012 all the way till 2019 or 20, okay, Python is leading. See the blue line. Blue line was somewhere in the third place from the bottom here in 2012. As and when data started growing, the data science industry, data domain started growing, it all the way is rising over year and year. And see here, it tops the rank with none of them are matching the requirement. So this, what output do we get from here? That boss, if something you are planning to start now, if you are completely, if I'm not yet started, okay, start with Python, because Python is the next big thing. It is a big thing. It's not a next best big thing. It is a big thing. Okay, it is the most in demand, most one of the most common language in demand. Okay, now I'll give you another aspect of this. Okay, you'll tell me that, sir, like Sajid, you are emphasizing more on Python, but I have a very valid reason. I am a Python enthusiast. I'm working in Python from past, let's say, at least 4.5 years. Okay, earlier I used to work on R. R was my day in day out. Now, there's a reason why Python has seen this demand. And you talk about data science industry, any company, uh, starting from in again in Nike as well. Okay, in my previous organization, when I was in Qatar, Vodafone Doha, in there. So my experience is Python. Now, why is it? Because it serves the purpose not only for data exploration, it serves the purpose for people who work in SQLs. Serves the purpose for people who work in visualization. You can do everything in Python. You can write SQL queries in Python. You can do good charts, which I'll show you now in Python, good visualization. And you can do machine learning in Python, very advanced machine learning, even deep learning, artificial intelligence algorithm. Those all are designed very well in Python. Okay, so when you have one language which serves all the purpose of yours, so why would you use your time and brain to learn multiple language? No, right? Any human being will not do that. So on that sense, I say people that go and, if this is the first thing that you are starting, start with Python. Okay, so guys, one just I'm getting questions, and in between I'm getting email IDs. So let's just hold for next 10 minutes. Then you start bombarding with email IDs. Otherwise, I'll lose on questions. Sorry for that. So I got one question from Soumyadeep. What are the purpose of Python and Tableau are learned? Do they have? Yeah, they definitely have different purpose. Python is for data exploration, machine learning. Tableau is for visualization. Okay, knowing programming language is not equivalent of having machine ML knowledge, right? Then what? Then what more should I do? Okay. Okay. If I understood your question right, programming language is definitely different. That serves a different purpose. ML knowledge is a different thing. It serves a different purpose. Okay. Let's move ahead, guys. Uh, I have a slide which is very important for you at this point in time, because you are in UG, and networking in referral plays a very important role. Now, just to give you a context, 80% of good openings, I'm talking about good openings, okay, in data science industry is filled through networks and referrals. Now, again, I'll quote this number right. 80% of the openings in data science industry is filled by networks and referrals. Okay, only 20% is something which goes to campus placement, or you see the job posting on Naukri.com or here and there. Now, if you think about 80%, are you well prepared for it? Are you preparing for it? Are you preparing for the network? Are you building your referrals? Okay, you need to ask this question. Now, I'll share this slide and also share some important pointers with you on how should you build your network now. This is the right time, so that when you complete your studies, even higher studies, okay, you have a good pool and you have a lot of options to apply and to join, okay, through networks. Cool. Let me, before that, I would go ahead. So basically, as I said, uh, Step Up Analytics, we do a lot of initiative when we where we help students to network, where we help students for referral, primarily people or students from Bengal. Okay, all keeping in mind that we guys from here, we have a tremendous and absolutely awesome background in academics. Converting that into a an opportunity, awesome opportunity, is just a thin line. Okay, from a good academics background to a good opportunity is a thin line, and that is through network. Okay, so we do all our within our community. Step Up Analytics is a community where we try to link or do such stuff so that people find the right openings, right positions, right internship to build their career. And likewise, we have grown over past 4.5 years, 5 years. So, okay, networking thing. So I would really encourage you all to look into this aspect. So as a community, we also start take a lot of initiatives. So project-based learning, I have talked to you about, right? So project-based learning is one thing that we very much encourage everybody, so that it changes the aspect in which you look. So we have designed a special program. Okay, now what happens, right? Generally with the demand, okay, there are a lot of commercialization thing that happens. Now if you are aspirants, definitely you are aspirant, that's why you are here in this session. You are learning statistics, you are spending good 3 4 years 5 years of your time. So learning and getting into that is a lot of commercialization thing comes into picture. And if you try to learn, there are problem with the finances and all. People don't generally get a good opportunities. And then what you are learning, will that be helpful? Will that be in a good direction? Will that be a good approach? That is again important. So what, with all our experiences, okay, we designed a program especially, okay, project driven approach, wherein we take three platforms: R, Python, and Tableau. Okay, completely from scratch, keeping in mind that the folks who joins, who be a part of this program, is completely like does not come from a technical background. So likewise, we have designed from basics, okay, where you learn R, Python, and Tableau, basics of SQL as well. Okay, and those learnings are directly implemented as a project. So you, let's say you have spent 10 weeks on Python programming. In the 11th and 12th week, you will get to work on a project on GDP and economic data analysis and forecast. Okay, when you work on this project, right, you will be able to relate what Python is and what problem you are solving. So this gets added to your portfolio. Okay, this is one project in your portfolio. Then few of the very common industry driven project like A/B testing, ROI estimation. So this is, you talk about industry and they do this A/B testing and ROI. Okay, then so that when you learn R, so let's say when you complete your another 8 weeks in R, after learning R, you will be able to do work on this project. Okay, this project will help you to have a complete grips on R. Similarly, when you do a COVID analysis, like this is one a very recent project that I have added personally. I found this data very interesting, as in like people relates to it. In the COVID, how COVID second wave impacted India. Okay, now if I bring this raw data, let's say you have a data set here. This is a COVID data set. This is coming from Ministry of Health India. Okay, this is a ever-growing data. Every day you get the new list. Okay, I want to understand how did COVID impacted West Bengal. Okay, and I visualize this data in Tableau to understand how this is my visualization in Tableau. Okay, uh, India, how is it impacting? How many people died? How many active cases are there in Tableau using this tool, awesome tool, which you will learn eventually. And when you visualize a raw data set from Excel, which is raw and hardly people understand, okay, to an advanced visualization tool like this, okay, you did a wonderful job. Okay, it might look very achieving, like will you be able to do or not, but believe me, if the journey, if the learning is smooth and crisp, right, you will be able to achieve this. I have built a basic chart just to show you today. Okay, so I just thought of bringing how did second wave and see how is India being impacted, which state, and all, right? So converting raw data into a visualization tool like this is a awesome thing. Cool. Now this is your R and Python and Tableau. Then these are couple of projects. So in total, you have three projects: one project for Tableau, one project for R, one project for Python. Okay, you have three projects and two use cases which you will do with in during the session. So we have planned a weekend session. We have started one weekend session for Jadavpur and Calcutta University last week. We'll start something for presidency next week for this three department. So this will cover a case study which you'll do in the session. Now, a general question which I get from students is like, I don't come from a programming background. Will I be able to make it or not? So guys, will you be able to make it? Will you be able to learn? Okay, or not? What challenges you will face? That is completely on the mentor or on the community. Okay, they know what you need to learn. Okay, and programming, if if only if being taught with basics, with fundamentals, okay, it becomes very joyful. But if it is bombarded to you, right, if I give you 10 lines of code all of a sudden, okay, that particular moment you lost the interest. The moment you lose the interest, nobody can teach you that, nobody will be able to teach you. That's why we understand how to take this, and at least for data industry, what it needs to what you need to know when it comes to data and driven related technologies. So we'll take care of that. So a couple of detailed discussion on data extraction, data cleaning, what and all you'll be taking, you will be learning as part of this. Data visualization, we are focusing on Tableau. Since you are all our students, you'll get a license of 1 year. So 1 year is a good time, and we'll spend good 6 weeks on Tableau. Okay, 6 weekends on Tableau, so that you master the art of visualization. Okay, now the sessions are on weekends. Knowing that you guys will have classes and sessions, like most probably the classes will become offline now. And since all the colleges in Bengal, like JU, CU, and even Presidency, will have exams sometime in December, so we'll pause for a good 2 weeks for exams. But yeah, we'll start next Thursday. So keeping all these modalities, guys, you'll have live mentor. I'll be teaching you Tableau. There will be other two mentors who will be teaching Python and R. Okay, online. We kept it very student friendly, so that commercialization should not be a challenge for anybody. Like nobody should come and say that I want to learn, but somebody is charging me 20K, 25K, I cannot learn. That is, I'm totally against operationally, and that's why we started this. We made it just to 2,500. Okay, and again on this also, if somebody wants to learn and are enthusiastic, are doing something and still facing some are some having some financial issues, please come to me. I'll see what like I can do, because my idea is, my perspective is, if you are interested, you should learn. Okay, because I cannot think of anything better to start with. If you are enthusiastic and definitely coming from a rich background of this uh, theoretical background, you should go for this. Okay, sessions are online. We'll give break for exams. And even since it is online, we'll also record the session. The moment you complete the registration, your portfolio will be created here, and that portfolio you'll have all the recordings, project data, certificates. This is a certification program. You'll get certified for R, SQL, Tableau, and Python that you have worked and learned this. So certification is definitely one add-on. Okay. So any questions so far on this, guys? Before I go ahead,
Sir, what is the duration of the course?
it is 2 months. 2 months. 2 months is for the program. Okay, and we have kept 3 weeks for projects. So there are three projects that you will be working on, right? So each project will take a week. Okay, this project you will be working along with the mentor. Okay, so now and case studies is something which you will do during the session. Okay, so we are starting on 13th of November, that is next Saturday. We'll wrap this up by first week of January, if we do continuous. But I assume that you have exams. We'll take a break for 2 weeks, so it will go somewhere till mid January to 2022. You'll be completing this program by mid January 2022. Yeah. So very good question. This Somadeep is really making me speak out very interesting facts. So he's talking about Coursera. So how do you decide what are you providing in our project? How to decide that what are we providing in your project? Our Coursera and all. Good. Yeah. So good point. So see, Coursera and all is good. Okay. There are two aspects that I found after they've changed the policy. First is it has become expensive now. 3,000 per month by student is expensive, because I assume that you will at least take 3 months to complete one course, right? So 3 months is something somewhere around 9,000, 10,000, which I feel is a little expensive for students at least. Okay, if you were earning, so paying 10,000 rupees would not be a problem. But finance is something which everybody is concerned about, at least at this point in time. So I understand that what happens is people uh, restrict themselves and they don't enroll. Now Coursera recording and having a live session, there's a difference of like ground and sky, I would say. Okay, the moment you know that any point in time when you get stuck, it can be a basic problem or advanced problem. If it's a psychology thing, and uh, obviously it is for with me as well, because I also did my recently I did one program online. And the moment you understand, it is there in your brain that wherever you get stuck with a basic problem or advanced question, there is somebody who can answer your problem, answer that queries. You are good to go ahead. Your journey will be smooth. The moment you get into your mind that whatever you'll have to do yourself only. There's no uh, guidelines or somebody who is mentoring you one-to-one basis. It becomes really difficult. Okay, uh, you become frightened basically कि यार अगर कुछ question आता है तो who will answer my question? Where will I go? So that's why what we did is exclusively college wise, like we created one WhatsApp group for JU, one for CU, one for JVers. Similarly, one will create for presidency. We create a WhatsApp group so that any point in time, even on weekdays or weekends, if students has question, they can put a question there and the mentor will be there to answer it. So that the journey is not only on weekends, the learning is not only on weekends. Weekend is a live session where you get one-to-one live sessions. Okay, weekdays is where you'll work on your assignments, your projects, and you have a mentor just a WhatsApp away, ask your question. Just to give that human touch. Okay, because we have been in this learning and data science, particularly data science analytics thing from past uh, 4.5 5 years. Okay, almost touched all the colleges and universities which has economic stats and mathematics in North India. Almost all colleges. There are more than 300 colleges. So we have understood the psychology and we have molded ourselves in that way. Now, why we provide recording? Because in live sessions you learn all, but let's say you want to prepare yourself for interview and all, you should have everything accessible for lifetime recordings, project data, codes, so that you can access those anytime. So your portfolio, when you create a profile, when you register yourself, your profile will be created, and all the documents and everything will be available there. Okay. Now, if it is available there, you can go and use it anytime. Okay. So one question from Sayantan, sir, are you starting? Yeah. So question is, are you starting from beginner level? Yeah, this was my first point, that I'm talking to students who come from a non-technical background. This is my cohort of students. Okay. And if I understand my cohort, that's the reason I have did a basic survey in the starting, at the starting, because I know in presidency what what is being taught. Okay. In UG, I know the curriculum well, and what needs to be taught in terms of technical, I, based on my experience, I know that. So we'll start from zero. Now zero means even the installation, how to install Python or Tableau in your system. This can be, it can be as basic as this. Okay. Some of you might be aware of basics, but you'll have to uh, give some 2 3 sessions, spare that 2 3 sessions, and then you all will become in one level. So but we'll start, to answer your question, we'll start from zero. Okay. So now coming to uh, yeah, so I'll share this details. Okay. I'll just pause for 1 minute and I'll ask you to read this stanza, the program perks and projects. I would request you all to ask any questions if you have, so that I can answer those now, and then I can jump into next session, next topics. Okay, how many classes will be held per week? So there's a question from Pushan. So we are having a weekend classes. Okay, we're starting from 13th of November. So we will have your, in total, we'll have 16 classes. Okay, 32-hour session. Okay, that will be spread across uh, 2 months. So every week we'll have two classes, one on Saturday and one on Sunday. Did I answer your question? Okay, perfect. Next question is, sir, how to join the program? Perfect, Niladri. That will be my next point. Give me 1 minute. I'll just address basic questions and then I'll jump into that. Okay. So guys, cool. So I guess I'm getting no more. Yeah, one more question. So where is the link? So I'm sharing the link with you in another 1 minute. I'm just trying to answer the basic questions first. Cool. So guys, you will see that on your chat, I've shared the complete detail of the program. So this is a Zoom meeting. The moment you drop out from the Zoom, you'll not have access to this links and details. So this link or the details says that we are starting our program. It's a 2 months program. Okay. We are starting from 13th, that is coming Saturday. We'll have sessions on Saturday and Sunday. Uh, we have decided to do it on 6 to 8, but you have any other preferences, we can reschedule and we can change that. Okay. Program will happen over Zoom. Now, the moment you register, so registration, this was one question. You just log in, create your profile here on stepupanalytics.com. Okay. The link is there on the chat. Create a profile with basic details like name, full name, email address. Okay. College name, log in there and log in to register and then pay. Okay. The moment you do that, you will get an email from the HR with the WhatsApp link, group link. Basically, we have created a WhatsApp group link for you and Zoom invitation. The entire session will happen over Zoom. Okay, we'll do online Zoom session. Now, I would request the moderators. I'll get that information just to let me know when the exams have been planned, so that we can give a ample break in between, so that you guys can prepare well for and attend your exams. Okay, uh, that's uh, that's pretty much. on the program side. So over time, like I'm seeing this see here, this is one program that we have started for JU last week on 30th of October. Okay, similar program, same exact, everything is same, project based learning. Okay, it is just that the JU department asked us or requested complete detail, not the basic but complete SQL. So it is little longer, we are doing complete SQL, R, Python, and Tableau. There are four language. Okay, so on the same line, we have designed program for presidency. This is a program. Okay, uh, believe me, with the demand, right? As I said, the demand and supply thing is playing a very important role. The demand is so much that as students in undergraduate end up paying for similar program, that to recorded sessions, 10,000, 12,000, sometimes 15,000 and more. Okay, which is very, I feel, uh, which is not justified, because education should not be that expensive. Okay, so, and at least when it comes to open source technologies, these all are open source technologies, R, Python, and Tableau. So they have made open source for a reason, so that everybody can work. Now if a company is charging so much for learning, that is not justified, at least from my perspective. Okay, so a very industry driven approach, guys. Have a look into it. Spend good time on this. If you have any questions, I've shared my number on the chat as well. Okay, feel free to ping me. Okay, I might respond a little late, but definitely I'll respond. Okay, so on that note, let's jump into our last section, which is networking and referral. Okay, so guys, what are all social media platforms do you know, which you think is good for networking and referrals? A quick on LinkedIn, good. LinkedIn, Abhijit, cool. Yeah, LinkedIn is one awesome platform which has matured or evolved itself as a very good place to for professionals or aspirants to network themselves. Okay. Now, there are other forums, but those are offline, which is very restricted now. Let's talk about Meetup, okay, or any conferences or a talk like this. Okay, here you all are students, but there are a lot of talks which you will see. I can even share invitations to you all, where you will see a lot of professionals coming in and talking to students just for the sake of their interest, because they want to interact. So let's talk about LinkedIn. And I have this slide, I'll share the link again, uh, by Mark Millen, okay, where he says there are 9 basic steps that a student in college should take, okay, which is good for them for referrals. Okay, read one by one. So what it says is, on in a crux, networking is not only about building up connections, whether it be on Facebook pages, community, LinkedIn community. Okay, it is about knowing and understanding each other, as basic as what we can think of. Knowing and understanding means, like, let's say me, somebody, Abhijit, sends me a request on LinkedIn. Okay, I accepted it, because seeing that you guys, you come from a statistics background and a data science aspirant, I accepted it. The next thing, I get, hi, hello, and can you refer me? This is the job opening. I'll show you one example. I generally restrain myself, but just to give you a proper uh, proper feeling of it, like how it should be relatable. Okay, I get numerous messages on LinkedIn. Uh, okay, and let's talk about one message. Okay, so basically I got a connection request yes 3 days back. Okay, and I got hello, hi, hello, and directly I got a message that there's an opening in Nike. Okay, can you refer me? Cool. uh, and one have said the resume. So I actually don't know this person very well. Okay, which I should have, or we should have interacted. Now the problem is, as I said, 80% of the job openings fills up, right? So this carries a responsibility. Now, if I refer somebody, okay, if it does well, I get paid out, or like even sometime in lakhs and thousands, because I referred a guy. If that guy did not worked well or did not fit well for that position, I'll have to share the repercussions as well. Okay, the positive comes to me, the negative as well comes to me. So anybody who will refer you will take that responsibility. Now, if somebody is taking that like if that is if the work is so responsible, a person should know him or her very well. So you should start building network by building a connection, share a request. Hi, hello, how are you? Okay, I'm working on this project, I have done this project. If you don't mind, can I have your WhatsApp number, can I have your call number, I want to discuss a problem with you. So start building a connection like this. Somebody should know you on your professional and academics label, that what you are interested. Keep on liking, sharing stuffs of related thing. Like if you are a ML enthusiast, start sharing ML enthusiast, start writing blogs. Okay, start talking about ML new thing, upcoming updates. Okay, so that people get confident, build that confidence on you, on your candidature. And then when something comes to notice on to him or her, okay, you will not have to reach to him, he will reach to you, that guy, the Avijit, I found this opportunity which I feel that you will fit well, shall I refer you? This is creating a sparking thing, right? Wonderful. Like you are not approaching based on your interaction, somebody else is approaching you. Okay, uh, for a job. So again, I'll show you one example. Now I keep on writing a lot. I keep on teaching and writing is something which I do a lot. Now I got when I open my inboxes, right? So I get a lot of emails. Let's say I got recent guy, an HR, C. So I C is in my network. Okay, so C wrote me that I have read. She read my machine learning blog. Okay, and there's an opportunity in fractal analytics for this location. So will I be interested or not? If I'm interested, she will share the details, and we can go ahead. Now, this is what I'm asking you guys to build. Now, C is in my connection. I've already connected with her because I know she is working in Fractal, and Fractal is a good analytics company. Okay, so I started writing. I write a lot. Even I teach and I write. That is my hobby. So, based on my interest, she reached out to me. So that is something which you'll have to build. That's a core of networking and referral, guys. Okay. So was that like were I able to throw some light and insight to that? Any questions? Okay. So Soumya, will end the session now. Okay. In another 5 minutes. So yeah, just to update you. So guys, that's pretty much that I had for you. Now all up to you to if you have any questions to ask. And then I'll quickly take another 10 minutes, not more than that. I've already shared Tableau with you. Okay, I'll take another 10 minutes or 5 minutes, not more than that. So this is a Tableau software, guys. Tableau is a very expensive and very well adapted tools available in the market. Okay, so it provides a very awesome visualization tools, like you can convert a raw data set into a very interactive numbers like this. See here. Okay, very interactive numbers, very helpful. So learning Tableau will be really a good addition to your profile. Okay, now I'll come to Python. Now don't get bugged up by what this code says and all. You'll eventually learn Python and this will become very easy for you. For now, this will be difficult because you don't know Python. But what I'm trying to portray here is the advantage of Python. How easy or how like relatable it became. I'll just run all the thing, everything now. I'll run all cells. Okay, I'll show you the output. Let it run. So see here, Python is an interactive tool, is a free source. Anyone can install it for free of cost. It works as a smartphone for whatever purpose you want to. If you want to use play games, you'll have to install games app in your smartphone. If you want to read news or sports, you'd have to download and install apps related to that. Similarly, whatever purpose you want to do in Python, you have a relatable libraries. You'll have to download and install libraries. This is a one-time job. Okay. import the data set. This is the SQL part I was talking about you with you, right? Imported the SQL. My this is a COVID data set which you saw on the Tableau as well. This is the data set state-wise, number of deaths confirmed and cured. Okay, deleting some unnecessary columns, data cleaning, data manipulation thing. Okay, what important thing I want to portray to you is don't get bugged up by the code, guys. It's not that difficult. Okay, see here, I have used Python to build a visualization. Python in a one line of code here. Simply, I have passed the data, okay, and plotted a bar graph. And this is a bar graph, basic bar graph. Now you also have an advanced bar graph where you have interactive bar graphs. See here, state-wise active cases. Okay, then you have a more advanced graphs like this where you have state-wise deaths, how many people died. So this capability, wherein one tool which is a browser based, okay, it can be small system or big system, heavy system, light system, everywhere it is applicable, and you can do such advanced thing. This is what you did here. If I explain you this right, one line of code, nothing rocket science. This is my PX is my Plotly library, okay, which is used for visualization. I'm asking to boss build a tree map. This is my data set, and what you need to do is build state-wise number of deaths. Anybody can understand this by reading what I'm trying to do, and in one line of code you have such a awesome visualization ready. Okay, so coding in Python, if you being taught in a proper way, will not be a challenge for you. I can assure you this. Okay, you have numerous libraries. You have uh, PyCharm. You have uh, Collaborator. You have Anaconda. But the industry is very much dependent on Anaconda, which I'm showing you. So whatever I will take you through the session, or we will take you through the session, will be something which is very much in demand and very much easy to learn. Okay, so I got one question. What is where you finding is this data set? Where what is we are finding in this data? So here we are. Anshumita asks like, what is that I'm trying to drive out of this, right? So I here basically I want to see visually which state has more number of deaths. Okay, so I don't have any draw data as such here, but in visualize using visualization, I can say that overall state comparison of deaths. Okay, so by the tree map I can say that this is the biggest tree, so more number of deaths happen to this state, followed by Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, and West Bengal, and few small states like Goa and Himachal Pradesh, Telangana had a lesser deaths. Okay, so guys, I hope I this was an informative session for you all. Okay, and I were able to answer a couple of questions for you. Okay, if you still have questions, if you still have some doubts, so I get one question from Somedeep. So what's better, Anaconda or PyCharm, or Python Idle for beginners? So I would always say Anaconda. There are two reasons: easy to handle for students, like less of coding. So you see here, what I did is I did so less one line of code, okay, in a very user-friendly way, by reading. I have a Python has advantages of documenting your work as well as coding as well as output. All the three things come in a single view. So and it is used a lot in industry as well. That's another important thing. Okay, so yeah, guys, keep your question flowing in. I'm almost done with my talk. I'm expecting questions. So Abhijit asks, is Tableau open source? No, Abhijit, Tableau is one of the most expensive tool that data science industry has. Okay, uh, because of its intelligence and demand. Now, for us, like I have a license as a tutor license. For you guys, you have advantage. Tableau provides 1 year of free license. Okay, now if you go to Tableau website, tableau.com/students, okay, you can apply for license for a year. Okay, I'll no worries during the session when we start, right? We'll assist you to get a license for a year so that you can work on Tableau for 1 year. So open source alternative to Tableau to answer your question is Power BI. Okay, Power BI is open sourced. The only reason I ask students to switch to Tableau, because you are a student, you don't need to pay anything, right? You will get a license for free. So definitely you should opt for the best. Learn what is best in industry now. Okay, so that you get advantage when you get into job. Now, open source, there are a lot of open source. Power BI is one, but it does not come with that advanced features. Debarta, if I answer your question right. Okay, so guys, so I would request everybody. I generally take a selfie at the end so that just to remember. If you can switch on your video, that would be great for 30 seconds, not more than that. I'll just take a selfie. Amazing. Yeah, guys, keep in. Don't feel hesitant, guys. So in this online world, we know we work at the comfort of our house. Keep it coming, keep it coming. I need six more people. We'll start in 30 seconds. Give me 10 more seconds. Guys, 10 more seconds. I still see two people missing in from the grid. Is anybody coming in? One, two, three. Here we go. Okay, thank you guys. Thanks for switching on your video. It was good to see you all. Okay, so going back, so thanks a lot for joining in. It was a wonderful session, and definitely the questions that you guys brought forward. I really was amazed by the maturity of the question. So let us meet again with that hope on next Saturday. The people who are interested, get along, share the details on the chat. Okay, and if you have any questions that it can be as basic as like will I'll be able to do it, or any challenges that you want to share on a personal level with me, feel free to bother me. I would really help to happy to answer. I'll share the details again. And lastly, guys, like as I told you, we all keep on doing this session on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, or on regular basis. So it is always suggestible to get a feedback from students, and then restructure ourselves, correct ourselves wherever we are wrong. Okay, so I've shared a link. It will not take more than 10 seconds. Share your review on the link about the session, what changes you want, what helped you, what did not help you. Okay, that would be amazing. So on that note, guys, best of luck. Really, you guys really have a wonderful career ahead, and feel free to reach out to me. I shared my number anytime. We'll be more than happy to assist and help you. Thank you. Take care. Bye, guys. I'm here for next 5 minutes. You can ask me questions if you want. I'll be here for at least 7:50 till 7:50. So I got a question. How do we decide that what are we predicting or trying to prove is our project basically the outcome? So Ankan, MySQL, this all whatever you mentioned, right? MySQL, MongoDB, or Cassandra, this all are databases. So it sits the requirement sits on what the organization is using. So one organization can use MySQL, or some other organization can use MongoDB, and likewise. The ultimate query that we write, right? SQL remains same in all the platform. It is just the platform is changing. Query or the language that we use, that is SQL, structured query language, remains same in all the three platforms. But it serves the same purpose of storing and querying the data. All the three serves the same purpose. Did I answer your question? Okay, perfect. Okay, guys, so I'm done. Thanks a lot. See you again soon. Thank you. Bye.